Introducing Zentrix AI-powered trading signals service. Tired of second-guessing your trades? Zentrix AI scans the markets 24/7 with powerful, proven indicators built to give you clarity. You get 200+ signals every day on 15-minute, 1-hour, 4-hour, and daily charts. We cover Forex, crypto, commodities, indices, and stocks, so you're covered no matter what you trade. And the best part, you get all this delivered 3 ways, every day. Web alerts give you fast, clean access right from your dashboard. Telegram delivers real-time entries, confidence levels, sentiment, and trade duration. And email gives you the full breakdown, including 2 profit target levels and deep market analysis. Just hold $5 worth of ZTR. See what you can achieve with powerful AI trading intelligence by Zentrix. Try it now. And join our Telegram channel.
Okay, what's up people? Welcome back to another stream.
Okay, making sure I've got the right mic on there. I think I do now. What is up people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing good this Monday morning. As always guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, share it with your friends. All that good stuff does really help out the channel, so I do really appreciate it. And of course, any questions or pairs you wanted to talk about, or you're currently trading, want to share, stick it in the chat and we shall have a look. But I hope everyone had a good weekend. Tashi, good morning. Manzondi, good morning. As always, we'll start with the USD side of things first. Take a look at the dollar, DXY majors, and then we'll go through gold and silver, of course. I'll go through the perps platform we're working on, just quickly share that with you guys. And then we'll take a look at some requested pairs. So if you do have any, stick it in the chat. And of course, any particular time frames as well. Most of the time, I'm on the full hour, maybe daily chart as well. But if you do want me to drop a bit more intraday or slightly higher, let me know as well. And we shall take a look. What's up, Jason? For a second, I don't know who Bane is. This is definitely Mika. I can assure you that. Anywho, let's go through the dollar. So, of course, we ended up pretty bearish on Friday. Pretty bearish. I think we ended the stream around here. So, just before the news came in later that afternoon. And we had a very, very aggressive move to the downside there on Friday. So, interesting because we were trading at resistance. So, the analysis at the time was, let's see what price does at this level. Do we break through? Do we reject it? Does price maybe consolidate? That was my next kind of point of call for the dollar, because we did see some upside and we did hit that first target. You know, last couple of weeks I've talked about a push to this level. Then if we were successful with the breakout, potentially a swing back to the highs. We did see a push to that first level, but it was quite corrective. It's not like price bottomed out and saw some aggressive momentum on the way up. It was really corrective, so that's kind of what put me off looking to get back into, because I was short euro. I closed the trade pretty quickly. And I wasn't really seeing that momentum on euro or on the dollar as well, so I was out that trade pretty quickly. We did start to pick up some momentum, but came into resistance. So my plan was just to see what the next move will be. And of course, we had the news come out and yeah, a very aggressive move back down. So I wouldn't necessarily get excited about the shorts just yet. Reason being, we are crashing into support at the moment. So this is not the best time or place to be looking to short the market, because you've already seen such an aggressive move down. So the market is slightly overextended. So I wouldn't recommend shorting just yet. And of course, number 2, we're testing major areas of support. So I would be quite cautious of that. If we were to break through the floor and see momentum continue, that's a different situation. At that point, I'll be looking at break of this kind of counter trend line. And at that point, you're probably going to see the dollar come back and retest the lows at 96.396, which is the prior swing low. Of course, if you do look at the higher time frames for USD, we are still somewhat in a bearish trend. The market's been falling pretty much since the turn of the year, and we've been pretty consistent with the lower lows and lower highs. This could just be another one of those highs, you know, in this segment, and we could be revisiting the lows. So if that's the case, if we do see a break of that support level and momentum continue lower, then in terms of an intraday opportunity, I would suggest looking for some corrections and continuations all the way back to the low. So that's if we're looking to sell the dollar. If we do see continuation through support, then yeah, I would recommend pullbacks and looking to find those intraday swing highs and looking to short them basically would be the plan. At the moment, we are still respecting support, and there is a chance, there is a possibility that we do start to push back up again. Sometimes momentum, especially aggressive as this, when it crashes into support, can be misleading because a lot of people looking at that bearish candle going, wow, that is so bearish, short, 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 short. When you're still respecting support, and price could very much rebound off this and turn around. Sometimes you see these aggressive moves into support just to push back up again. So in terms of my bias for USD, it's actually a bit more 50-50. I'm kind of waiting to see what we do at this support level. Does momentum pick up with the buyers? Do we push back to highs? Do we break through this area? Of course, that would make me very bullish. If, of course, we just continue bearish and price break support, then yeah, I would be pretty bearish with USD. Perhaps either retest of that level, that could be a nice intraday opportunity. And off we go back to the lows. And Euro USD, I'm looking at the same light as well. We crash into resistance as well, so a really aggressive move into resistance. So again, I'm not going to look to follow those buys at all, despite the aggressive nature of that bullish candle. You know, all we did was just come back to retest resistance. So price could very much sell off again and look bearish, or of course we could break through, and that would make me pretty bullish on the pair. If you look at this counter trend line, similar to the DXY, we've got one swing high there, second one there as well. Your price is still respecting this area. And I wouldn't be surprised if we do still collapse and still see dollar strength come in and euro plummet. So if that dollar weakness that came in last week is the real deal and dollar is going to be weak for the foreseeable future, then I do want to see evidence of euro breaking this to the upside, and that would make me very bullish of the pair. Because we're breaking through counter trend line, we're seeing a continuation of that bullish momentum from last week. And of course at that point, again, intraday pullbacks will look really good all the way back to highs, which is actually not too far away, around 1.18. So if we're going to be discussing buys for euro, we need to be above resistance. Buying into that level doesn't make much sense to me, especially when it's just one big candle that gets us there. Sometimes that can be quite deceiving, and we can see momentum roll over. If anything, if we do reject well, there could actually be some nice shorts here. I'll still say it's quite early to say if the shorts look good or not. Of course, we're respecting the area at the moment. Kind of want to see us maybe consolidate for a little bit, maybe fire some more wicks to the upside, then see a strong shift back down again. That could be a nice entry for a short, especially on the 4-hour chart. But for the buying opportunities, I need to see more continuation and price break through key areas of confluence, basically this trend line and that resistance level. So until then, I'm backing away from that bullish bias and just seeing how we develop at resistance. There could be some nice shorts to keep an eye on. Pound USD kind of forming like a big inverse head and shoulder pattern, if you will. You've got a lovely left shoulder over there. There's your head, there's your potential right shoulder, and of course that would be your neckline of the pattern. So for pound USD, I can see some really nice buying opportunities should we break through this area. That's just your textbook break of structure, break of neckline, and at that point we're likely to return back to highs, and the plan will just be looking for pullbacks, trying to catch the swing lows to trade it back to highs. So if this USD weakness is the real deal, we're going to see USD trend lower for the next few days, next few weeks potentially. Then of course you would expect pound to trade higher. And of course if you can manage to break through resistance there, break structure, that should provide some nice pullback opportunities all the way back to the high at 1.378. But at the same time, the way I'm looking at pound USD right now, we're rejecting key support, we're rejecting key resistance. So essentially, we kind of got a bit of a range here for pound. Price rejecting lows, price rejecting highs. We're kind of just all over the place, really. So I'm not really so concerned about the price action in this area here for pound. I'm also looking to see if we can break through this area to get back to the high, or break through this area to get back to the low. So if pound does eventually sell off, let's say, breaks through support there, well, I'm expecting pullbacks all the way to the low, likewise to the high. So that's why I will have clear momentum and clear, trending environments. Because right now I would argue that pound USD isn't trending. We're kind of just back and forth. Of course, intraday you could say, yeah, we are trending down, trending up. So of course, but on the 4-hour chart, we're kind of just fluctuating between support and resistance. So In terms of clear-cut direction, I wouldn't say we really got that with pound, or at least not in my view anyway. I wouldn't say direction is quite clear at the moment. Yes, very aggressive bullish candle. Hasn't really led to anything. No major structures being broken. Support and resistance still holding. So until we do break above the high here, 1.359, or break the low, 1.33, not really interested with an opportunity on pound. Sure, there might be some sells at the high again, or some buys at the low if we do revisit those areas. But in terms of direction, in terms of momentum following, not seeing much of an opportunity just yet for pound. So that's really where my focus will be. And then, of course, we can speak about the high, should we break resistance. We can speak about the low, should we break support. And then we'll take a look at dollar CAD. Dollar CAD's been interesting as well. Very interesting, actually, because it rebounded off very aggressive resistance. If I actually go to the weekly chart, you'll see it better. But you can see dollar CAD and this level here, very, very significant resistance, active resistance once, twice, a third time, dating back all the way to October 2022. And we've just tapped back into that again. So longer term, I would not be surprised if dollar CAD does reject this area and we do see a pretty big sell-off. I think long term, that could be what dollar CAD is likely to do. So I'm kind of getting ready for the shorts, but they're not quite here yet, because as I drop to the 4-hour chart, we do somewhat have bullish structure still on our hands here with these higher highs and higher lows. So the market is not quite ready to be short in terms of market structure. I did suggest on the weekend, let's say if price does retrace and gets back to the highs again, there might be some nice shorts at the high there for another push down. I'm seeing really aggressive sell opportunities, really aggressive move down, and fairly corrective buys on the way up. So it looks to me that price is forming some type of 3 drive pattern, 1, 2, 3, and that might give us the big sell maybe in the next leg. But in terms of shorting opportunities, I would wait for a push back to the high. That way you're back within the weekly zone, and of course you're testing an area where we did see aggressive momentum previously as well. So in terms of shorting opportunities, I would wait for a push to the high. Of course, at the moment, price is testing this area of consolidation, which might provide some buying opportunities, but not a big fan. Reason being, because we were so aggressive on the way down, that kind of puts me off, to be honest. If we were a bit slower, a bit more corrective, I think that would be a great place for a buy. This was such an aggressive move down, so I don't really want to be the first person into the market try and buy that back up again. A little bit too aggressive for my liking, but yeah, another corrective move back up, back to highs. I do think that could provide a nice short, potentially a big double top, something of that nature. Of course, we have to monitor that as that does develop, but that's what I would have my eye on. Now over to Aussie dollar, probably my least favorite USD pair right now, just because the price action is horrible to read. We've got some equal lows. Of course, the news came in, really aggressive reaction. On the weekly analysis, I basically just suggested that if price can push back to resistance, I think that's the best place to look for opportunities for Aussie dollar, because at the moment I just look at this as a bit of a range. Now we were ascending slightly, but now we've got really flat here. So I would suggest if you're looking for opportunities, I would stay away from this area. This is kind of the middle, the median of the range. That's where the most noise and the most chaos will happen. If you can wait for a push to the high, not that you're guaranteed to take advantage of a winning trade, but you can be a lot more safer in terms of where you're positioned. You know, if price reacts this area, you could see a pretty meaningful move down. And I'll just be quite actively managing those positions, because I wouldn't be looking for big swings. I would just be seeing how far I can take it and go along with the trade. Maybe you catch a big move. Maybe it's just a slight move in price, retraces against you. In that case, make sure you're keeping an eye on the position. But yeah, the best I can see for Aussie, just to move back to resistance, wait for some evidence of clear rejection and opportunities up at the high. I'm not seeing much of a trend. I wouldn't really look to follow momentum here. I'm treating this as a ranging market. So if that's the case, the goal is to look to sell high and buy low. I think that's the best way to tackle Aussie, because the price action does look quite tricky to read. And in terms of New Zealand dollar, we do have somewhat of a descending channel here. Prices reacted, of course, really aggressively off the low. I would suggest if price can move back into the highs around 0.594, I think that could be a smart place again for another short. Doesn't have to be for the home run back to lows. Could just be a push halfway. We'll monitor that as we go along. But in terms of shorting, that's really where I like to take some shorts. We've got previous highs in the market. There's a possibility we could try and catch another one. So for New Zealand dollar going forward, the buys, of course, already in play, unless maybe price retests support again. That could be something to think about. But if we do continue higher, then I'd wait for us to get closer to the trend line before looking for opportunities to get involved again. But yeah, since we're in the channel, the goal is looking to sell as close to the high as possible, or long as close to the low of the channel as possible. In terms of gold, we were very bullish on Friday. Really strong move to the upside, of course. The USD weakness really caused a lot of markets to move quite aggressively, especially the USD ones, and really aggressive move up. Again, you guys know my opinion on gold. Really, really corrective market. Trying to stay away from gold as much as possible unless we do trade back at resistance or support, which is basically the high or the low of the range. So 34.40 or 32.60. Unless we get to one of those two levels, I'm personally trying to stay away from gold. Yes, there was a nice move last Friday, and possibly there could be some pullback opportunities of that. If we are going to see a continuation of that momentum, we might see a bit of a correction, and then boom, maybe price does continue. That could be an idea there. I'm not the biggest fan because of where we're located. Typically, in the middle of the range is where you're going to get a lot of fake moves, and I just really wouldn't want to be looking for opportunities, especially pullback opportunities in the middle of the range. Not to say this opportunity won't work out, it's just probability-wise, not the best place for it. If this was like in a larger trend and price was trending well, yeah, of course, that would be a great opportunity, but in this area, things can get quite choppy. So personally, I would stay away, focus my efforts at the high and at the low. Again, intraday, I can see some opportunities there, but I just don't like the location. So personally, I would stay away. And on to silver. This has been aggressively bullish as well. Really, really big candle there on Friday as well. I prefer silver a little bit more to gold just because there's a bit more of a trend about it. Silver is becoming a bit choppy as well, but I would still favor a push back to highs here. I think this is still a decent place for a long. So if we were to pull back into this area, I think that would be a smart place to look for a buy, at least back to where we came from. But I do think we can get back to highs. So if I had to choose between the two, it would be silver, just because there is a bit more of a trend to it. So naturally, these type of opportunities will have a bit more confidence to them, more likely to play out. Of course, gold and silver do move alike, so they probably both play out, but I'd rather focus my efforts on silver for now. And yeah, a retest of 38.19 would be an interesting level for a buy. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with USD. A lot of weakness, of course, on Friday, but I'm not getting carried away with that just yet. We just smashed directly into support. So really my focus is, what do we do at this level? Does price respect it and fly? Or do we break through the support? If we do, then there's a clear sign that that momentum is continuing. We probably will end up back at these lows probably in the next few days. So really my focus with the dollar is what we do at support. I wouldn't say that's quite finalized yet. I'm still a little bit 50-50. So I'm not really looking at USD pairs this week until I can see a bit more conviction. So yeah, that is kind of where I'm at. Let me go through some messages. A lot of people say hello to. Where was I? See, it's integrated. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Yeah. You're bullish. Okay, nice. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm 50-50 on the DXY. Really aggressive move down, but I didn't really do anything. That's the whole point. If this aggressive candle went through support, that's quite a big statement, especially if we took out this lower here as well. But it's basically just hovering at support. We could find support here and turn around. Things look very, very different going into the rest of the week. If we do crack through this with aggressive momentum as well, so basically this is a strong push down, this is somewhat of a pullback, and we see a continuation of that, then yeah, I would be pretty bearish with the dollar at that point, and discussing a push to the lows there. So I'm 50-50 right now. I'm not looking for too short. I'm not looking to buy. It depends. If dollar kind of maybe consolidates here a little bit and then she's a really strong candle pushing up, that would actually make me very bullish on the pair. And then I'll be looking to hopefully short euro at that point. So wrong one. If I could see similar rejection there for euro, so let's say price consolidates here as well, strong push down, that'll be enough for an entry for me. Stops above the high, similar targets back into the low there. So I can see a world where I do short euro as well. It just really depends how we react with that area, which is why I'm kind of waiting for a bit more information because I'm not too sure yet. What's up, D-Mart? Welcome to the stream. Abashi, welcome. Hope you're doing good. Appreciate the message, my man. Yeah, guys, please be sure to like and subscribe. It does really help out. And of course, drop any questions or chart recommendations in the chat, and I'll be happy to take a look and discuss. I took a high time. Oh, you took a high time frame trade. Nice. What time frame did you took the trade on, Bashi? Manzondi, what is up? Today is bank holiday. Yes. Yeah, today is bank holiday. Yeah. Today is bank holiday. Coffee Spinner, what is up, my man? Hope you're doing good. Thoughts on dollar CHF? Yep, we can take a look as well. No problem. Yeah, Friday New York was lit. Yeah. Big move. I was not expecting that, to be honest. Expecting a bit of movement, of course, but not as aggressive as that. That did catch me off guard. Hey, what's up, Willem? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Good to see you, my man. Yusuf, as always, good morning. I'm doing good today. Thank you. Hope you're doing well as well. Oh, it's daily. Okay, nice. Wow, nice. Fair play, Bashi, fair play. Which pair was it? And how come you took a trade on the daily chart? Yes, Yusuf, we can take a look at Euro and G on the 15, no problem. What's up, follow the trend? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Can we see GA longs yet? About 2.075, looking good in that area for retest. Okay, I mean, yeah, we can take a look at GA. I'm not not the biggest fan of it anymore because it is still in a range and we didn't break the high, which is kind of what I was banking on. But we can take a look. Okay, let me go through our platform quickly and then I'll go through some requests because there's a bunch of them to get through. So if you guys haven't checked out our perps trading platform, make sure you go do so. I have linked the platform in the description below if you're interested in trading perps or you just want to see what it's all about. A lot of us trade CFDs, maybe futures. Perps is on the rise and I do see a lot of markets transferring to perps, FX, indices, commodities in the near future as well. So this is the platform we've been working on. The great thing about it is easy to use, just like other platforms you probably would have traded with. You can buy, sell, stop orders, market orders, take profit, stop loss orders, all of that as you would normally do. The way to get started is by connecting your Solana or Ethereum wallet to the platform just by clicking this button here and then connecting any Solana or Ethereum wallet you have to the platform. That will allow you to trade directly from that wallet. So in terms of requesting payouts, withdrawals, it's very, very simple. You don't have to request anything. You just take it straight away. And if you don't have a wallet, you can use your email to log in to the platform as well. At the moment, only crypto markets can be traded on the platform. But as I said, FX, indices, stocks, commodities will be coming onto the platform. So you'll be able to trade them as well. And just like you would do with CFDs and futures, basically you are just speculating on price. But the difference between futures and perps is that, of course, the contracts do not expire. So you can hold the trade for as long as you want, basically. And one of the key features of this platform is involving AI intelligence to help analyze charts, speed up the process, pinpoint key areas of the market. And on the top left, you do have Miko AI, funny enough. The AI version of myself, if you will. And you can get analysis straight away in terms of analyzing the market, key 4-hour setups, market risk, sentiment, analysis, key support and resistance levels for major cryptocurrencies, not for the smaller ones at the moment because there's not a lot of data on them. But in terms of the major cryptocurrencies, you can definitely analyze them and get setups based on you, which you can take yourself or you can use them as ideas to get you going. So if you haven't checked out the platform, guys, make sure you go do so. A lot more content and information with that platform will be coming out soon. I do already have some videos where I do break it down, walk you through the platform as well. And if you haven't checked out the Zenthrix YouTube channel, make sure you go do so if you are interested. But anyway, let's get to some pairs. So where was I? Okay, so we'll take a look at dollar CHF for coffee spinner. Then we'll go for euro and pound USD on the 15th for Yusuf. Okay, so dollar CHF, we'll go through some USD pairs, I suppose, to start things off. So dollar CHF has been consolidating for quite a while. Equal lows down here, roughly equal highs around about here, and the market has been quite flat. Which makes things quite easy in terms of direction, because whilst price is in the middle of that range, direction is pretty flat. We don't really know what price is going to do. As soon as we see a confident break to the downside or to the upside, we can be look to take advantage of that and follow momentum. Of course, price looks like it's hinting at a break to the downside, but I wouldn't say it's a clear-cut one. We only just closed below, of course, with that momentum on Friday. Looks like prices closed back above and technically trading at support right now. So for dollar CHF, I would suggest let's wait to see if momentum can continue. If we drop again, that will show us okay clarity. We are definitely breaking through support here. And if that's the case, next target will be a push back into these lows, and of course, probably back into these lows, because at that point, we probably will just be seeing the higher time frame bearish trend just continue. This might just be another pullback, another lower high. In a similar case to the DXY as well, this could be another lower high, which could take us back into lows, and we'll probably just see price continue that bearish trend. So if dollar CHF is breaking to the downside for real, I do want to see a bit more evidence in supporting that, because right now it looks to me that price has taken out the low but just closed straight back above, and perhaps could even use it as support to continue the range. So right now I'm getting fake out vibes here, and that's not a good sign, at least for the sellers anyway. So if we're looking for opportunities, I would suggest let's wait for some more evidence on a breakout, or even let's wait for a stronger close, and that could support the idea of a fake out, and actually look for some buying opportunities to take it back to the high end of the range as well, if you are looking to trade between the range. But if you are looking for momentum, if you are looking for breakout opportunities, which we are kind of hinting at with this bearish momentum, I want to see more conviction to the downside. Then of course pullbacks, maybe a break and retest of this area, maybe a retest on an intraday level on the low here. It depends really what the structure is giving us and what the opportunity is at the time. But yeah, I can see USD CHF heading lower. Just want to wait for some more clarity there, because this looks like a fake out. I wouldn't want to get caught in the middle of that at the moment. So yeah, dollar CHF, definitely potential to the downside. Not quite there yet for me though. Euro and GU on the 15. Okay. Let me just start afresh. So like I said, on the 4-hour chart, all we did was rally back into resistance. So despite all that bullish momentum, we can't get carried away. In terms of the 15-minute chart, so yeah, 15-minute chart, I probably would just be looking for shorts, mean reversion opportunities. I wouldn't be looking for buying opportunities here. Yes, we had a lot of momentum, but where's price trading? As I said, back at major resistance. And the last time price did manipulate and take out a major high, look what happened. We formed a high over there. Price rallied through that. What happened? A big sell-off happened. We had a pretty big correction. Price has done the same thing, taking out this high. That could potentially give us something similar and a big push down as well. So I wouldn't be looking for continuation until I see signs that we are breaking through the high again. Then after that, yeah, I could look for continuations, because at that point, I'll be expecting a push all the way back to the high over there. But right now, what I would be looking for would be potentially another push back into resistance, and looking for some selling opportunities off the back of that for another push down, perhaps somewhat of a double top pattern. Again, not looking for anything crazy. Let's say if we do find support here and rally back to highs, that would then be my target for the trade. We might go further, but I'll be quite actively managing that position and keeping a close eye on it. But in terms of a solid opportunity, I would just be looking to short at highs. I'm seeing a lot of resistance, a lot of bearish momentum from these areas. So if we were to rally there again and see a healthy rejection, I think that's the best way to trade it. I wouldn't be looking for continuation patterns, not yet at least. Like I said on the 4-hour chart, I do want to see price kind of break through this confluence here. Well and truly clear all of this noise. If we can do that, then the clarity in terms of the buys become quite clear, and then the pullbacks and buying opportunities back to the high makes a lot of sense. So until I get that, I won't be bullish on Euro USD, especially in the 50 as well. I think the next best opportunity would just be a pushback to resistance and a good rejection. And yeah, stick with that until we see evidence of price continuing to trend. In terms of pound USD on the 15-minute, this kind of the same situation as well. Because again, if I just look at the 4-hour quickly, as I've said previously, this looks like a ranging market to me. You got equal lows running the market there. We almost came back into the same vicinity again, and you got equal highs there as well. So all I see for pound USD is a market that's kind of trapped in this area, minus these kind of recent fake outs, if you will, but more or less price has been in here. So again, from a 15-minute perspective, what I can see is, of course, price had a big rally. Would I want to try and find continuations of that? Not really. I wouldn't say that's a high quality setup or a very likely setup to happen. As I said, if price can break the high here or break the low here, I think that's where we have probability, and that's where momentum becomes something we can follow, because if we do break support there, well, then we've got a good chance price will probably end up here. So pullback opportunities on the way down will look really good. Likewise, to the upside, if we do manage to break resistance here, then pullback opportunities will look good all the way back to the high here. So in terms of momentum following and trend following, we want to see price trade above this area or below. As price is, of course, basically in the middle, ideally you want to be buying off the lows here and selling off the highs there and trying and avoid opportunities in the middle here. Not to say that you can't find an opportunity, it's just I wouldn't say it's a really high quality one. There is a high price potentially could retest and bounce from. I think that could be an opportunity for continuation, but I would be paying a lot of attention to that. Yeah, I would have the impression that if I can get it here, I'll be happy with the trade. Let's say price takes out this low, tests key resistance, find a nice reaction there, push back into this trend line area. If I can get that, I'll be happy. And if price starts to show evidence of coming back down, I'll just close the trade. Of course, maybe you do catch a breakout, maybe price does fly. In that case, you can always trail stops. But I would be quite cautious around this area, knowing that we might still be heading lower. So from a 50-minute point of view, this is probably what I would keep an eye on from a short-term perspective. Euro, I quite like the sells at the high. But yeah, neither opportunity I'm kind of thrilled to be looking to take. Really, the focus is at these areas, whether we respect them or break through them. I think that's really where the big moves will happen, more so on a 4-hour chart rather than 15. But that's kind of where my attention is for now. What's up, Lenny? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Good morning, good morning. We can take a look at GA longs. We'll follow the trend as well. What's up, Jay Fenner? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. If DXY doesn't pass the previous uptrend line, then I'll turn bearish if it doesn't pass 98.050. Okay, and stays above 98. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I think DXY is a little bit tricky at the moment, to be honest. Okay, longs and GJ, okay. Can go take a look at the yen pairs in a moment. Good to hear, Will. Good to hear. Watching the stream. Hope you're good too. Yeah, I'm good, my man. I am good. Glad to see you on the stream, though. What's up, Mohammed? Welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome. EuroCAD. Yep, Dre, we can add that to the list. I'll go through I'll go through GA, then take a look at DXY, then we can go through EuroCAD, no problemo. Thoughts on ICT concepts? I don't trade them. Haven't really looked into them at all, to be honest. I don't really have much thoughts. Again, there's a million ways to trade the market. All you have to do is pick one and get really good at it. That's as simple as that. And what you will find is that a lot of trading styles are kind of just different remixes of the same thing. We're all trying to buy what other people are buying. We're all trying to sell what other people are selling. And we're all trying to time the market well. Yeah, at the end of the day, it does all really come back down to support and resistance. Everything is kind of just a deviation of that. Some people are trying to buy a little bit lower, a little bit higher, but we're trading the same market here as well. So my thought is just find a strategy and get good at it. Yeah, but me myself, I've never traded ICT. Oh, okay, my bad. Okay. 46.7 RR, wow. That is ridiculous numbers. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, we can take a look at GJ as well. Jason, I'm long New Zealand Sea Chef in the 4 hour. Being near a long time low and seems to be losing momentum. Yeah, I'm looking at the same idea roughly as well. But yeah, I'm not getting involved just yet. I think it's a little bit too early, but we can take a look. Anyway, let's go through Pound Aussie. So Pound Aussie, I did exit my trade last week. I was long on this one from back down here, and I was trading my stops as price continued. We got to the high of resistance there, so that's kind of really where my focus was in terms of if I could continue to hold the trade or I should get out, basically. I did take 50% when price got there, because that was my initial target for the trade, so I didn't want to be in a situation where I was being too stubborn. And if price does get to my target, I want to make sure I do book profit. So I did lock in a decent amount there. Then when I saw price start to reject, that's when I just closed the trade. Because I was originally hoping to see us break out and continue, because of course Pound NZD had this similar reaction, really big breakout. And I was expecting Pound Aussie to follow suit, but we didn't see that strength at the time. So I just closed the trade and moved on. Now that price has continued lower, am I looking to take buys here? Nah, not really, because we're not really trading at any key area. This is the range I'm looking at. You can probably see it better on the daily chart. Mostly equal highs there, equal lows here. This for me is not the best place to be picking up some longs. Not that we can't continue higher. We can continue higher from anywhere potentially. But in terms of probability, that's not really where I would be looking to buy. There's only two places really which I would look to buy. Is down at the lows here, which is where I bought last time. Or price can break structure and then find some pullbacks for a buy. And we're trading above that level, of course. Then, of course, targets will be back at the high there. So there's only two places where I would try and position myself long. Again, this is more from a swing bias. I suppose intraday there's different opportunities there. But I just don't think it's the best place possible. We're coming from resistance. We respected it relatively well as well. Yes, we are coming back to some areas of demand structure here, which we might see a reaction to. But I'll be very kind of watchful of that trade. I wouldn't be trying to look for a big swing. I can see something like this happening. After all, it is a ranging market, and there is a world where we do push back into lows again. If price has rejected the highs pretty well, we could be making a move back to the lows. So I personally would not be looking for buys at all for Pound Aussie in this area until I see a strong break above this. So if we can break 2.1 really, 2.105, if we can break through that, then sure, I like the buy opportunities. Or if we do head back down to support again, reject it well, then yeah, I wouldn't mind picking up some longs there again. So yeah, that's the only way I do see longs in Pound Aussie. Otherwise, nah, I'm not a big fan of buying Aussie, Pound Aussie, because it is just a ranging market, and I don't want to be getting involved in the middle. In terms of the DXY, so as I mentioned for this guy, I'm kind of still neutral to a degree. Basically, to make me bullish, I need to see a really kind of significant reaction off this level, because of course price was very, very bearish coming to this level. So I need to see something that will kind of equate to a healthy rejection of that level. Because if price was kind of correctively falling to the level, I don't need to see anything crazy to jump into the trade. But because we had all this momentum here, I do want to see something that tells me that, okay, despite all this momentum, price is likely to continue higher. So I need to see something like that to trigger me into a buy or to make me bullish. And of course, if I'm going to be bearish, I do want to see price crack through support because, of course, at the moment we are holding pretty well. So if we do end up cracking support here and breaking through 97.6, that would make me pretty bearish. I'm expecting us to trend lower. We have this kind of vague counter trend line at play. You know, if price is going to break through that, I would expect us to reach the lows again. After all, we are pretty bearish on the higher time frames, and I wouldn't be surprised if this trend does have another leg lower to it. So I can see price going both ways, and really I'm just staying on my toes. Again, a big part of trading is just being reactive to what the market's giving you. You might have a bullish bias, but things might change quickly, and you should be able to change with that. You don't want to be stubborn. So those are kind of the two things I'm looking at. A really solid rejection, good shift of momentum off support. That could be what gets me into a buy. If, of course, support breaks and I see some healthy momentum lower, that makes me bearish. So that's kind of where I'm at right now with the DXY. In terms of Euro CAD, this one's interesting. It has been bullish, but it looks really, really corrective. Looks like price is kind of struggling almost. So I do expect us to go for a bit of a sell. And if I go to the daily chart, you can kind of see the type of market structure I've been working with. I think a sell makes a lot of sense, actually. We're in a very corrective ascending channel. We've been bullish for quite a while, so I believe we're approaching a top to the trend. We've taken out some major highs to the left there as well. I think we've taken out this high here too. Yep, just about. So I do believe we're at some really, really high prices, taking out some highs which we haven't done since March 2018. So not only are we looking tired, not only are we behaving really corrective, we're testing some really key highs right now. And I do think that can invite a lot of sellers into the market, potentially a lot of buyers taking profit. And I think we can make a move down and potentially even further than that as well. So for EuroCAD, I'm not interested in the buys despite the market being bullish. I'll be more intrigued about the sells. Now, how would I go about selling? Well, you can go for the aggressive route, which is kind of looking to call the top here and look to short at the high, which is an aggressive trade because price could, of course, always go higher, but it does position yourself the best in terms of entry because if you catch the move down, you know, who knows, you might catch the start of a new trend potentially. Or at least even if you do catch a move back into the low end of this channel, that's number one, still a pretty good move to take advantage of. A lot of pips there to catch. And of course, if price does eventually break through, you might be trading on a really nice trend that could fall. So that probably would give you the best possible entry in terms of risk reward and just location of entry as well. The second way you can go about it is wait for some bearish structure to develop. So right now we're still quite bullish, at least in the 4-hour chart anyway, with this major structure pointing up. You really want to see price start doing something like this and then talk about some shorts, maybe going to break and retest somewhere. Yeah, at least at this point, you've got some low highs to work with. You've got some lower lows, perhaps even a break of structure as well. So that really shifts momentum in your favor. Structure's now in your favor. Now shorts are a little bit more high probability. Of course, your entry's not as good. You're entering down here rather than up there. But you can be a bit more sure that the trend is actually in your favor. And you're not trying to anticipate anything. You're already trading what's in front of you. So this opportunity may take maybe a week or two potentially to develop. You could look for both opportunities, try and take advantage of the high, then add additional shorts when the pullbacks and when the structure actually shifts as well. So that's if you really want to play the game with EuroCAD. Again, really depends how you want to trade and what kind of strategy you're looking to follow really. But if you are looking to take shorts up here, I think you're in a good place for it. What I would wait for is maybe us to maybe consolidate and start to see a strong break. You got somewhat of a counter trend line there. I'll suggest maybe a strong close below that could be a nice entry in itself. Stops above the high and then see if you can take it back into the low of the trend line. Like I said, it's a bit more of an aggressive trade, so don't be surprised if momentum does go against you. If it does, get out the trade pretty quickly, because at that point, the higher time frame trend could very much could continue. But let's say if you do get a strong close, momentum keeps up well, yeah, you're looking pretty good for a push into the low of the channel. And then we'll see from there. So yeah, that's really what I'll be looking for EuroCAD. This trend starting to run out of steam and a push back down. Raphael will go through pound yen shorts on the 4 hour, and then we'll take a look at Jason's NZD CHF idea as well. Yeah, of course, I think it's the same idea. It's not really the edge you're trading, it's more so how you trade it. Because you could have people with very, very simple strategies performing very, very well. People very kind of complex, maybe a strategy that tends to have a high win rate, and people trading it very poorly, and as a result have a low win rate or not really good results from the strategy. So it's more important how you trade it rather than what you're actually trading. Especially in the beginning as well. You could always master strategy, then look to find a new one and a better one and whatnot. But if you're beginning and you don't really have your foot in the ground yet, and you're kind of looking where to start with something, get good at that something, and then you can always change later. Your strategy won't dictate your success really. It's really how you trade it. And like I said, if you want to change up styles later on, you can do that, but you don't want to do that in the beginning. You don't want to be trading this strategy this week and then another one next week. You won't really get anywhere with that. Anyway, we'll go through some yen pairs. I'm seeing euro yen being requested. We can take a look at that as well. We'll go through GJ. We'll take a look at New Zealand CHF. What's up, MBK? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. No problem, Yusuf. Happy to help out. Yeah, appreciate it. See you integrated. Don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. Make that bullish. If you guys are enjoying the stream, finding it useful, I do really appreciate if you can leave a like, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, and of course, hit the bell. It does really help out. Anyway, let's take a look at New Zealand CHF, was it? Yeah, New Zealand CHF and pound yen and euro yen. So, New Zealand CHF, yes, I do understand the buys in terms of, yeah, prices approaching all-time lows again. We're expecting to see a big recovery for New Zealand CHF, and quite frankly, a lot of the CHF pairs I'm expecting to see a big move from. So, 100% I do agree with that. I mean, if you look at the history of New Zealand CHF, every time price does create a new all-time low, we are seeing really aggressive rallies, and I do think one is long overdue. So at some point, we most likely will get that, but the timing is really difficult, and you want to pay respects to the current bearish trend, because this could always continue a little bit lower. We could always see another new all-time low before we do get the rally, and you could be in a situation where you're just taking buys and the market keeps falling. You're taking a lot of losses, then eventually it does turn. So you want to pay respect to the current bearish trend and not be too aggressive into that. What I really want to see is signs that this trend is starting to bottom out again. So maybe I'll start to consolidate again, maybe, and then maybe a strong shift of momentum, and that could then, this could end up being a nice buy there, maybe a retest of consolidation, then we turn around. At least at that point, I've got something to back me up for the buys. At the moment, I'm seeing consolidation, nice breakout, another consolidation, nice breakout. I could be looking at a retest, another push down. I think these lows probably likely to go as well. There'll be a lot of liquidity there, and the market's probably on a hunt on that low there as well. So New Zealand CHF, I think the buys are a little bit too early. Depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for like a quick intraday trade, sure, you can get away with that. If you're looking for a big swing, I think it's a little bit too early, or at least we don't have enough information to justify a big swing just yet, especially with what we're seeing. So if anything for New Zealand CHF, I actually like shorts a little bit more at the moment. Like I said, long term, sure, I do think that's where the bigger move will be. But right now, I'm seeing quite clear bearish structure. We've broken through a really key support level. Haven't come back for a retest yet. I would suggest the price reacts well. I think that's a smart place for a short. And like I said, I do think we probably will come back and take out these lows. So yeah, New Zealand CHF, I'll be hesitant with the buys for now. If you're looking at a quick trade here and there, yeah, you'll be able to get away with that. But swing, I think it's a little bit too early to say. And if anything, I think shorts actually look pretty good at the moment. So yeah, I wouldn't jump the gun with that one. In terms of pound yen, so pound yen's been a bit awkward. Yen pairs in general have been a bit awkward, I would say. Well, I'm long on Aussie yen. We can go through that in a moment. I hopped into some longs on Aussie yen last Friday. Was it Friday or Thursday? Can't even remember. Maybe Thursday. I think it was Thursday. We can go through it. But yeah, pound yen, not really liking, to be honest, the way I see it. We've got equal lows here, equal highs here roughly. The market's kind of consolidating right now. And of course, if we expand to the higher time frames, you can see, of course, we've been respecting resistance over here as well. So we're trapped basically for pound yen. We're not really doing much. Structure's quite dry here, quite corrective. It looks like we're kind of forming maybe some type of flag pattern potentially. You know, strong push up, maybe a correction for us to continue higher. The key thing really I'm waiting for pound yen, most of the other yen pairs, is really a sharp breakout to really get some momentum going and direction going. Because I was looking at the yen pairs over the weekend, looking at the JPY basket, very, very corrective, basically consolidating. So direction isn't really clear at the moment, and I wouldn't really be looking for big moves. I mean, I am looking for a big move on Aussie yen, but more so because it's positioned where I can take advantage of it. I'm actually being very watchful of that trade. We can go over it in a moment. But because we are still quite choppy, I think it is still quite 50-50 with the yen in terms of which way the yen's going to go. And looking at price action on the 4-hour chart for pound yen, I think I'm still seeing signs of that as well. Potentially price might kind of sluggishly roll over back into support, or maybe we do see an aggressive reaction. We finally get the breakout. In that case, great. We can talk about some pullbacks and some long opportunities after that. But until then, I'll be quite reluctant to find opportunities for pound yen because it's really, really choppy. I think the best thing to do is short the highs and buy the lows until we do get the breakout. So let's say price does rally back into resistance again, rejects it well. Yeah, that could be a nice place for a short. Likewise with the longs off the low. But until we get a breakout outside that range, I wouldn't really be looking at trying to follow momentum or trying to follow where price is going to go, because it's difficult to say, at least in my eyes anyway. So yeah, pound yen, not really liking the price action, very, very choppy. Best thing to do is short the highs and buy the lows until proven otherwise, until we get a breakout. If you take a look at the yen basket quickly, I'll go through euro yen and some other requests in a moment. If you take a look at the yen basket at the moment, which of course is the yen in comparison to other major currencies, Aussie, CAD, pound, euro, dollar. You can look at the yen basket right now and you can see how incredibly flat the market is right now. So, you know, we are either consolidating to reverse or consolidating to continue. I'm not too sure which one it is at the moment. We've got this kind of counter trend line, which is still just about in play. If the market is going to hold onto that trend line, perhaps we do continue lower. If, of course, we do see a breakout of the trend line and of the range, that's a really strong signal that, okay, maybe this is a bottom for us to start turning around. I think once we get that breakout for the yen, things will become a lot clearer. And I think that the yen pairs will come a lot clearer to trade, and we'll probably see some really nice opportunities off the back of that. But you can see right now we're very, very flat, and that's kind of showing signs across a lot of yen pairs at the moment. As I did say, I am long on Aussie yen. I think I took this last Thursday. Yeah, I did. Yeah, that was just yeah, that was just before the daily candle close. So yeah, I did get long on Aussie yen. Again, this is still relatively choppy as well. It is going to rely on the yen itself. So I kind of need price to eventually break out that consolidation, hopefully to the downside, to get this trade rolling. But I really like the setup in terms of the flag pattern at play. You've got this corrective behavior here. Price more or less pushed down to the low of the range. Really strong shift of momentum. I like the entry. I took it on the 4-hour close. We have seen some upside. I have managed to trail my stops as well. So the original risk was down here. I have trailed my stop loss to just above this low here. So it's like minus 0.2 if I do end up taking a loss in this position. So I managed to reduce the loss, potential loss, quite well, as we have created structure, nice pullback, and we just created new highs this morning. The plan for the trade is, when I did hop into it, the plan was, can we get here? That's all I'm looking for initially. Push there, maybe roughly around 1-to-1. If I can get there, lock in some gains, at that point, hopefully have no risk involved in that position, I'll be happy. If price potentially puts a top in, comes back down, I'll walk away for a small win. But if I do see a breakout here, maybe I'm onto something. Maybe price is actually going to rally back to highs. And maybe we are going to continue beyond that, because if I do hop to the higher time frames, the reason why I'm long Aussie yen, of course, is not just because of the channel. It's because also I'm trying to look to play the larger structure on the daily chart. We've got this bearish structure here, which was creating lower lows and lower highs. We formed the bottom here. Price then created the equal high, a higher low, and now since then we've created a higher high. So the plan for the trade is, can I find the next higher low, of course in comparison to this low here, for hopefully the next continuation to the upside. So I like the buys from that perspective, simply looking to follow this reversal, this inverse head and shoulder pattern, break of the neckline. Now I'm looking for the continuation. So the plan was trying to catch the higher low. Of course, we've got the flag pattern helping me out, and price also pulled back into this lovely area of consolidation, which acts kind of like an area of demand. Maybe not the cleanest area you'll ever see, but we stayed here for quite a few days before eventually breaking to the upside pretty aggressively. And if I get rid of all of that and flick to the weekly chart, you can see we are in an area, actually if I remove the drawings as well, you can see we are in an area here with a lot of wicks to the upside, a lot of wicks, 1, 2, 3, 4, really aggressive wicks to the upside, which of course represent resistance. Since we've had a really strong break through that resistance with this candle, and of course all of this has now turned support. And last week left a pretty nice wick to the downside there as well. So I'm basically looking to play a break and retest off this area here. So if we can hold on to that as support, hopefully that can really give a nice kick in my favor on the higher time frames. Push back to the highs there, of course. And maybe if I'm lucky, I can trail stops and really take advantage of a big move. Maybe back to 98.5 on the left over there. So I like the upside potential here for Aussie yen. I like how we had the pullback. I like how we reacted off the low. I like where we're trading. I like this area of demand zone there. So there's a lot of boxes being ticked here in terms of me getting into a buy. And of course, I really like the entry as well with the aggressive candle closure. So now it's just up to managing the position and seeing how far we can go. So far, we've seen a bit of momentum. I managed to trail stops. We'll go from there. And of course, this will rely on the yen being weak as well, which not really seeing a lot of, but we'll see how that goes. Anyway, next we will go through euro yen. Where was I? Yes, Jay Fenner, we can take a look at some indices and crypto, no problem. We can go for a bunch of them as well. Yusuf, please, if you're going to go for yen pairs, can you go over GJ and UJ in the 15? Okay, we can take a look at that as well, no problem. I appreciate it, Bashi. Yep, make sure you drop a like and subscribe, guys, if you're enjoying the content. And of course, any questions you have, drop it in the chat and I'll be happy to answer them. No problem, Jason. Happy to help. Okay, so we'll go take a look at Euro Yen. I'll go back and take a look at GJ and UJ in the 15, but I'm not a big fan of either of those markets in the 15 right now. I'm not a fan of those on the 4-hour either. MBK, yes, we'll take a look at Pound CAD. Just missed that message, but yeah, we can take a look at that as well. If I have missed out a pair, let me know. I probably have. But I can always go back and take a look at it. So Euro Yen's been pretty stale as well. I was having a look at this one over the weekend. Wasn't really too impressed with the price action. To be honest, the market was really, really flat. Kind of boxed this off, to be honest, and look at that as its own range in itself, really. Again, in terms of the higher time frames, I know I'm after with Euro Yen. I'm looking for more upside back to this high here. We've seen a lovely breakout, of this range here. Price was consolidating for quite some time. You saw a really impressive breakout there. So the plan is, can we see a push back to the next key level, which would be 175 all the way up there. So that is very much the plan for Euro Yen. So I was been looking for pullbacks, didn't really set up how I wanted it to, but the way I see it, this looks like the pullback is over. This looks like the low of the pullback, and potentially you could see something like this start to form. Oh, wrong tool. Something like this start to form as we start to progress and see some more upside. So as I mentioned last week, for some buying opportunities for Euro Yen, if we could see a strong breakout to the upside, as in price takes out these highs well, and basically just breaks out of this consolidation here, I think that would be a strong sign to say that, okay, the buyers are really stepping in, and the plan would be looking for the next pullback for some buyers, because we've got equal lows here. Prices, of course, rallied, seen a new high. This could be the next higher low, basically looking for the next rally, and then basically looking for the next higher low after that. And of course, we can take it back to highs afterwards. So basically looking at this continuing really. So I am bullish on Euro Yen, but right now it is 50-50. So although I've mentioned a nice breakout and a pullback could make sense, equally we could even see price do something like this if we are going to topple over. So I'll keep an open mind for Euro Yen for now. Looking at the higher time frames, I would be pretty bullish, but until the lower time frames set up that way, we're not going to look to do anything really. So I'm kind of waiting for strength here for Euro Yen. I do have that bullish bias from the higher time frames. I'm simply waiting for the lower time frames to follow suit. If we do break lower, I'll probably have to reinvestigate. I mean, my bias still stands, but it might mean that we do have a bit of a correction lower first before maybe we do go and hit those targets later on. But yeah, for what we are doing, it's just a lot of noise right now for Euro Yen. I would suggest if you're intraday, there might be some shorts off the high here. Yeah, on the lower time frames, but that's all you're looking to do is just call the tops there. Sell at resistance, buy at support. That's all you're looking to do. If you're looking for momentum, if you're looking for trend following opportunities, you're waiting kind of for that to enter the market and either price to break the highs well or the lows well. So it depends what you're after. Mean reversion, look to sell high and buy low. Momentum following, trend following, wait for some break opportunities with some emphasis, and then we can look for pullbacks afterwards. But long-term move, I do think Euro Yen is still destined to go to the upside. We'll go through GJ and UJ in the 15, but first I will take a look at pound CAD for MBK because that was mentioned earlier. Okay, I think my mic was on the wrong mic there for a second, but I think we're good to go now. Okay, pound CAD. So pound CAD, yeah, consolidating at resistance. That's all I'm seeing right now. There could be some nice selling opportunities. If I expand to the daily chart, whip this level of cross, you can see we have rejected this area quite well on a couple of occasions. You'd probably even consider that as well. So if this is price again, topping out, really struggling at resistance, we very much could see a pretty big move down, because all I'm looking at here for pound CAD is a market that's ranging. You've got equal highs over there, equal lows over there. Market is back and forth, back and forth. This looks like consolidation to me. If I drop to the 4-hour chart, this looks like consolidation to me. And I would suggest if we do break to the downside like so, that would be a strong sign to say that, okay, the seller's entering the market, resistance is holding. At that point, we're probably going to end up with a swing back down to lows or near enough those lows anyway. So yeah, pound CAD I would be bearish on. It is in a bullish trend overall, but I do think that trend is running out of steam soon. And probably at the fact that we're forming these equal highs, maybe this could eventually be the top, but I wouldn't read too much into that for now. So yeah, pound CAD ranging at resistance, a strong break of support would suggest that the sellers are winning that battle and we probably are going to continue lower. At the moment, we are in the range, so we could continue for as long as price likes, and we could still break higher as well. So don't want to rule that out completely. But if you're looking to sell here, yeah, I'd say a break of that support would be the green light to start selling. Whether you're looking to sell on the breakout or wait for a pullback on a retest, if you're a bit more intraday, that'll be depending on your trading style. But that's what I'll be looking for some shorts for pound CAD. Now, in terms of pound yen on the 50-minute chart, this is going to look really, really ugly. But we shall take a look. So pound yen on the 15. Yeah, it looks awful. Awful. So I was discussing this support level last week. So that's not a bad level to buy from when we had this recovery. Which, I mean, despite the fake out there, it did act well as support, but that probably would have taken you out of the trade. But if you find a re-entry, probably would have caught a nice swing there. And sort of kind of acting as support there again. So with GJ, I mean, the way I see it, this support has kind of been manipulated, and looks to me that price is trying to respect it again to continue higher, but probably would back away because it's not been respected too well recently. So I wouldn't really want to be looking to take positions there. Of course, this low held pretty well. I probably would say if we can push there again, that would be another smart place for a buy, but I would keep it short term. I think this is a great place to position yourself for a swing to the upside. Again, we had a really aggressive move down, but didn't really result in much. So it tells me that the buys are doing a pretty good job at respecting price, at least at this level anyway. And if we were to return there, provided we see some healthy rejection, I think buys would make sense. I mean, the conditions of the market are very choppy. We're not really seeing trending environments right now. We're not really seeing impulse moves, pullback opportunities. So the best way to take this is buying low and selling high. I mean, it looks like we might be reacting off an area like this. That potentially could be a buy, more so like a 5-minute chart, just to get a better entry. But from a 50-minute perspective, I would say this looks like the best location for a buy. We might react here, but I think this is probably the better place for a buy, especially for a 50-minute time frame. Then yeah, I'll probably play it quite conservative of targets. Potentially, do you see a push up there? But I'll be looking more so around here for targets. So yeah, GJ, very, very messy conditions. My strategy would be looking to buy as low as possible. Not necessarily as possible, but low as possible for key levels like this area here as well would be very nice. Of course, low as possible would mean down there, which probably would still be a great place for a buy as well. But I quite like this area since we've seen a really strong reactions. If we get there again, reject well, I would bet on another reaction from that area. So yeah, GJ 198.4 would be the best. Personally, I would stay away. I'm not seeing much clarity with the price action here, so personally I would stay away. But if I had to, I would look into buy from that low if we get there. In terms of UJ, UJ is arguably worse, to be honest. I'm seeing equal lows, roughly equal highs there. Again, in terms of buying opportunities, this would be the best place for the buy. So again, I would suggest if you can push back here again, that's really where I'd be looking for long opportunities. 146.659, that's where I'll look to try and buy. At the moment, I'm not really seeing much opportunity here. I would say we're in the middle of nowhere. Maybe if you scale right down, there might be some opportunities to take it back to the high here, but not for the 50-minute chart. 15, this is where I see opportunity. And for sells, maybe if you come back into this area, that could be a nice area for a short as well. But because of the conditions aren't trending, they're sideways, equal lows, equal highs, you want to be just picking the best levels to buy from. And I would suggest 146.659 looks really good. Our resistance there at 147.963 looks pretty good as well. But again, depends how we get there, depends how we react. That will justify the trade or not. So yeah, UJ and GJ, really, really difficult price action there on the 15. They're both kind of just ranging, so you want to be focusing on buying at key areas of support, not really looking to follow momentum. Okay, so hopefully that made sense on those currency pairs. We'll take a look at Euro CHF, Stefan shorts. Okay, we'll have a look. See. Is it usually preferable to reference the basket rather than 61D? I mean, personally, I think the basket provides a little bit. Well, I find the price action with the JPY basket looks a little bit tidier, and it kind of gives me a better representation of the yen, especially relative to the yen pairs. I mean, the Japanese index is good as well, but I think the JPY basket just gives me a better representation of what the yen is doing relative to other currencies. But you can use the index as well. It pretty much is the same information. Remy CAD yen, yeah, we can take a look at that as well. We'll go for Euro Swiss first, but then we'll take a look at CAD yen. Again, guys, if I've missed out a comment, do not take it personally. You can just drop it down again if that's the case. DMR looks like Euro yen and pound, Euro JPY and pound. Gov talks on Saturday. Did nothing much for momentum. No, didn't really see much happen over the weekend. Really, no major gaps to really report on. Scarlet FX, what's up? Hope you're doing good. Did I miss gold? Yes, but I can take a look at gold again for you. Not the biggest fan of gold, but yeah, we can go through that. Yeah, sure thing, follow the trend. We can go for Aussie New Zealand dollar and Euro NZD. All right, take care, Will. Have a good one, my man. We'll hopefully see you in the next one. Appreciate you coming on the stream. Bought in the 15 recent low. Which market is that? Oh, is that for GJ? Is it the low that price just created? Or talking about something else? Is it this low here or? Well, I'm not guessing that because that's from Sunday open. So yeah, maybe around there. Well, yeah, I mean, I can see the break and retest opportunity there. Personally, I probably would rather take the low off here just because it's a more significant level. And I would just feel a bit more safer there. I wouldn't be looking for much for GJ, to be honest. It's a really, really choppy market. I mean, I don't trade the 15 anyway, but if I had to, it probably would be there. But yeah, I can see the retest opportunity there. Really strong push down, significant break. Looks like the first time price is retesting. Maybe taking out some minor lows there as well. So I can see the confluences line up there too. But yeah, I'll probably would prefer the deeper test. Okay, London low, so yeah, it's probably that low then yeah. Best of luck with that position, Bashi. Anyway, let's go through Euro CHF and we'll go through some indices and crypto. I forgot about that for J Feno, my bad. We'll take a look at that as well. And then CAD JPY. Okay, so, and of course there's other requests we'll get to in a moment. But Euro CHF, so you said shorts for this one. I'm not a big fan. I mean, I see a market that is ranging on the daily chart. You got equal highs stacked across here. Actually, bring that down a little bit. Equal highs stacked across there. You got equal lows here. And all price is doing is just fluctuating between two levels. I think long term is actually probably a big break to the upside on the cards, but let's not get carried away with that just yet because we're still trapped in this range. So it looks like price has broken out this consolidation here, miniature consolidation, really strong candle there last Wednesday. Okay, I can kind of see the idea with the shorts. Price has broken out consolidation, perhaps retesting that to continue its journey to the lows. I think that's where the entries get a little bit interesting right now because, yeah, it's a nice close down the 4 hour chart, but what am I seeing? I'm seeing a lot of wicks to the downside, which doesn't give me a lot of hope with the shorts, to be honest, at least with that entry. If I drop to the hourly as well, yeah, this is kind of like a miniature consolidation on its own. So in terms of shorts for Euro CHF, what I would suggest is probably dropping to like a maybe in a 30-minute time frame, wait for another push back into this area and try and see if you can get a short as close as possible to that level. That way you can maximize your risk rewards, because then your targets will just be back to the low here. Maybe we do continue a lot further. There's the possibility that price does see a swing to the low of the range, but I wouldn't be trying to take some shorts here because you're kind of shorting directly into the support level, which price has really failed to break through and could easily just turn back around against you, and you be straight into some drawdown and not really effectively trading your receipt share quite well there, I would suggest, because then you're relying on price break and support, which it could do, but I wouldn't necessarily rely on that. I'll try and get my entry here, so I'm more so relying on the rejection here, and if that does happen, yeah, great, I'm straight into profit. I can lock in some gains there, and if price doesn't break through, it's not the end of the world. I'll probably still walk away for a small win, or at the very least, to break even there. And of course, if I do short there and price doesn't respect well and it does break through, of course, I do take the loss. But the entry here, you're inviting some unnecessary drawdown, I would say. Yes, of course, we might get the breakout, but it's a big might. I think the better trade actually would be just waiting for the breakout and then shorting, either having a stop here or having a stop there. At least at that point, you've got evidence that price is breaking support there. So yeah, Euro CHF, it does look like we have broken out of this consolidation. Nice break, and looks like we are coming back to retest it. So I would suggest, if you're looking to short, either wait for price to get there again and short maybe in the lower time frame, or maybe wait for the break of this to either short on the breakout or again some intraday pullback to the trade there as well. And you've got to push to the low there, and maybe if things play out very well, you might be looking at a swing all the way back to the low of the range. Yeah, that could be very much a possibility. So there is some downside there for Euro CHF. There is potential. I can see the shorts there, but I would say price action is a little bit hit and miss right now, especially if those wicks and the rejection to the downside. So I'll look at those two opportunities, see which one potentially does develop, and there could be some opportunities in that regard. But yeah, it looks to me that price is just rebounding off the high, strong breakout. We could probably see some more downside here. So yeah, I do agree. In terms of CAD Yen, so CAD Yen's interesting. CAD Yen's really interesting. I say that because we've got this wedge here, which more so gives me hope for buys rather than sells. I have spoke a lot about this counter trend line break for CAD Yen. I did say price broke out this counter trend line, so that did make me pretty bearish at the time. But we just haven't really seen much momentum from that, because once we get the break of the counter trend line, I really want price to set the tone and start to see some aggressive behavior lower, some pullbacks, more downside. I want to see that happen. And then, yeah, sure, we can be talking about a push to the low here. And of course, some of these lows as we do continue. But we've been really corrective in this wedge pattern. And again, typically when price is in a wedge pattern like this, it normally means we're getting ready to break higher. Because it means that we're running out of steam. We're seeing frequent pullbacks, not much emphasis in the shorts, especially with that really massive bearish candle there. Really aggressive candle, but all it did was respect support and turn around straight away. It's not a good sign for the sellers, I must say, because if you are legit going to continue lower, you do want to see evidence of that candle breaking through and really rip into the downside. But nope, it found support, turned back up again. So CAD Yen to me looks like it's kind of getting ready for something like this. I think in terms of opportunities, the best one in terms of the most confidence would be waiting for price to break to the upside of this channel, and then take buys in the breakout or maybe some intraday pullbacks afterwards. It depends how you want to enter the market. Either breakouts or pullbacks make the most sense. And then yeah, a push back to the highs here, and then potentially a push back to the highs there could be something you're looking to target. So yeah, going forward with CAD Yen, I would be leaning to the bullish side of things. Wedge pattern normally represents price breaking higher. Of course, we haven't broken higher yet, so don't get too carried away. And the two ways I look to trade that is longing on the breakout or waiting for some intraday pullbacks. In fact, maybe a strong close in the breakout could even tempt me into a trade there potentially. I'll have to keep an eye on that. Maybe provided if I can probably get Aussie Yen completely risk-free, I might entertain that. But yeah, either breakouts or pullbacks on the breakouts. But right now, it's indecisive. We're in the wedge pattern. wedge patterns do represent some type of indecision, but it looks like we're getting ready to push up. So that's kind of what I'm hinting at for now, but we'll wait for the breakout before we really get carried away. We'll go through some indices and some cryptocurrencies. I'll take a look at a few of those, and then we'll take a look at USD and Aussie New Zealand dollar for follow the trend. Morning, Thando. Welcome to the stream. EuroCHF, we just had a look at Euro Swiss. Hopefully you did catch that. If not, scroll back maybe 6 or 7 minutes ish, and you should see the analysis to Euro Swiss. You got a 40 pip stop loss. Is that what you mean, 40 pips? Into the hour, different to usual trades. Yeah, of course. 3 pips to 40 pips is a pretty big difference. Although 40 pips is still relatively quite small as well. Okay, fair enough. Catch with 0.2 R, which, okay, makes sense. Yeah, I mean, at that point, then you don't necessarily need to drop to the 1 minute, do you? No problem, Lebsy. Happy to help. Yes, we can take a look. No problem. No problem, Yusuf. Thank you, thank you. Today's chart is absolutely horrendous, but I'm actually happy I was able to make same levels as you. Mentioned thanks a lot. No problem. Yeah, I think that's good progress, to be honest. Not that you're marking the same levels as me, but that you kind of noticing that the market is choppy, and it's probably best to kind of stay away. A big part of trading is your decision making. Making the decision to trade or not to trade. You could take one good trade, but then you take 5 horrendous trades. That will kind of, undo the progress that the one good trade makes. A lot of trading is just not taking those 5 poor trades and just taking one good trade after another. Of course, a good trade doesn't necessarily mean it'll be a winner, but in terms of the quality of it and the confidence involved, it's a good trade on paper. So you want to be taking those trades as much as possible, and conditions do play a big role in that. You might be looking for break and retest opportunities, but break and retest and choppy, really chaotic conditions versus maybe a nice trending environment with momentum behind you, that's a different opportunity. So picking and choosing your moments in the market, very, very important. And I'm good to see progress on that side, Yusuf. What's good, Lighton? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well, my man. Welcome. Anyway, let's take a look at a couple indices and a couple crypto markets. Now, I did have US30 as the bonus pair on the weekly analysis. If you haven't checked it out, go and do so. Kind of wrapping up mostly what happened last week, forecasting this week, and some of the pairs I'm interested in to trade. And US30, I really like the price action because we had that humongous breakout on Friday, of course. The indices were very, very bullish on Friday, weren't they? And US30 especially so. And we have a really commanding breakout, shattering that resistance level. So to me, it looks like US30 is now on its way because it's just been kind of held back at resistance. NAS has been trending a bit well. S&P's been trending well as well. But US30 just been stuck at resistance. Now we've finally broken through that aggressively. All of this is now support. And all of this can act as a bit like a trampoline for us to pull back into and springboard us to continue back to some new highs. We've got the next big psychological level for US30, which is 46K. I think that could be the next target we look to work towards. So simply for US30, the plan is just to pull back and then some more upside. I think out of all the indices, this one looks the clearest cut to me. Clear break of key resistance. As long as we stay above this, the buys look really good. Of course, if price does break below, then this turns into a bit of a fake out, and actually shorts become a really nice opportunity afterwards. But we'll speak on that if we do get the fake out. But for now, that is where the focus is at. Simply a break and retest, continue momentum back to highs, and hopefully we can go even further than that as well. As for, let's say, NAS 100, of course, nice pullback with that one. Strong shift to the upside. I think if we can drop to like a hourly chart, I would suggest a pullback to this area looks really good. So pull back to there, kind of like an area of demand here. That's roughly your consolidation for a push up. Looking for a pullback into that for a continuation, because the plan is the market's still seeing higher highs and higher lows. This is our last low. This is our last high. We pull back into roughly an area of demand here, and we're looking for this to be our next high low. We've already seen a strong close down the daily chart. Perhaps we can at least push to some supply. I would suggest this area here could be our next target. Of course, I'll be looking to aim for the highs. Excuse me, aim for the highs long term. But this area could definitely provide some resistance, so I would be quite careful of that. But for now, US 100 NAS looks pretty bullish to me. I like the wicks that we were firing here to the downside. Looks like this very much is the low or the new higher low. So the plan now will be some pullbacks and a push to 23,700. So very, very bullish. Very, very bullish for the indices at the moment. US 30 kind of looks the best to me. Bitcoin, on the other hand, did see a nice strong reaction, but did not sustain that. I was talking about some sells past couple of weeks. We didn't really see that pullback, unfortunately. That would have been a nice short there. Basically looking for the head and shoulder opportunity. Left head, right shoulder. Didn't quite see that, but we did push to... let me just delete that out of the way. We did push to support. Nice reaction there. Of course, that's where the news came in, so price was really bullish. Smashed into some resistance and we came back down. So I still do like the buys for Bitcoin. More so at this area of demand. Let me just get rid of some of this just to clean up the chart a little bit. So I like this area of demand here. Really strong reaction to the upside. We are taking out this low here as well, which would be some liquidity as well. I think if we can see healthy reactions here, naturally a nice place for a buy. I'm still very bullish on BTC despite the reaction at the highs there. I'm still very bullish on the pair, but I'm also kind of being a bit conservative. I'm not necessarily expecting us to just smash into highs and create some new highs now. I think we could turn into a bit of a range here, to be honest, or even some type of counter trend as well on the way down. But as for a buy, I think this is a very sensible place for it. Again, not shooting for the moon, but I think you can catch a nice push here, maybe back into supply around here. I think that makes sense for a trade. Of course, depending how we react, that's quite crucial. I think this is a good area to buy from on paper, but price is going to tell us if it is actually a good area to buy or not, if it reacts well. So keep an eye around 110, 109, and maybe push to 115, 116 is kind of what I'll be looking at, and then we'll go from there. But still just about bullish. And Ethereum strong rejection at the high, which I'm not quite in love with, I'm not going to lie. Of course, Ethereum just made some new all-time highs recently. If we drag this across, you can see just about new all-time highs, but we have rejected them pretty aggressively. I still like this area here for a buy, but again, I'm more so looking at it in terms of it's a nice area for a reaction. I'm not necessarily betting on continuation, mainly because of what we just did here. We tried to continue, left a big wick, momentum shifted really aggressively. It's a strong sign that says, okay, the buyers have tried to continue, but it's not going to plan. They failed quite miserably, I'm not going to lie. So I like this area for a buy. This is where all the momentum came from. We are still seeing higher highs and higher lows. We're very much in a bullish trend right now, so we're not going to discredit the buys. But after a big reaction like that, it does make you want to be a little bit more conservative with targets and not shoot for the moon right now, especially when we do that at all-time highs as well. So I think this is still a smart place for a buy. We still do have a trend in our favor, but it might be a situation where we react, maybe start to struggle at highs again and come back down. So be prepared for something like that to happen. But for now, yeah, I still do like buys around 43.50. So as you can see for both Ethereum and both BTC, I think there's still some long opportunities there, but we're not necessarily trying to shoot for the moon or shoot for all-time highs again. It could happen, but after the rejection we've seen, I wouldn't bank on it. So yeah, I would be watchful of that. Okay, so we'll go through Aussie, New Zealand dollar, and Euro NZD for follow the trend. What's up, Alex? Good morning. Welcome. Hope you're doing good. Okay, so Euro NZD. So you mentioned a sell. Also, Euro NZD sells anytime soon. I think this one's hitting. Yeah, have we actually made new highs? Yes, we have. I think, yeah, in terms of anytime soon, yeah, I do think price will eventually topple out and see some type of sell. It could just be a pullback for us to continue going higher. But still, I do think there is a move to be had to the downside. Let me look at the higher time frames for this one. Yeah, I mean, we are trading at some major highs right now. I think this is the spike we had from COVID. Yeah, Feb 2020. So we are at some crucial areas where I do think downside is likely, even if it is just a pullback for us to continue higher. But I do think we are over G1. But of course, it is counter trend, so we have to be quite careful with this. The market could always go a little bit higher, so you want to be quite careful. I think the better opportunity is still looking to buy, really, especially coming back to some nice areas of demand around here, maybe even a retest of the high. I think this is still smart places for longs, provided that the trend is still up. Still seeing evidence of a lot of momentum in the market as well, and of course, still taking out highs. So I prefer the buy opportunities really with USD. I think in terms of confidence, in terms of what the high time frames are doing, the buys make sense. In terms of shorts, what I could suggest is, let's say if we consolidate here really well, spend a few days there, back and forth, a strong break. There might be some opportunities in that regard, looking for that pullback into these areas, then probably looking to exit around the 1.975 area. But something like that could turn into be a nice short. But again, you have to take it with a pinch of salt. This is counter trend. You are going against the tide here, so you want to be a bit more cautious with entries, not just taking the first entry you get, because you could be very easily liquidated as price trends higher. But if you do start to form a top here, consolidate maybe for a couple days, see a strong break of that, yeah, that could start a pullback, and that could be what you take advantage of in terms of the shorts. But as I said, I think the buys is where the bigger move is still at. Not really seeing signs that we're tiring just yet. Yeah, we are overextended. Yeah, we have taken major highs. So I do expect a pullback. But in terms of the trend, it still looks relatively healthy. So I think buys down the lows and simply taking it back to wherever the highs are, that's still a decent move to keep an eye on. So yeah, USD sells on the cards, not quite here yet. But again, I would have the thinking that if I do get into short for USD, it's probably just a pullback I'm taking advantage of. And I'll be very cautious of that. In terms of Aussie New Zealand dollar, current trade Aussie New Zealand dollar as a ranging market as well, and sell from the highs. Okay, yep, we can take a look at that. Aussie New Zealand dollar is not my favorite pair, I must say. I try to stay away from it as much as possible unless I see some clear evidence that price is really moving well and momentum's there, which is few and far between. But yeah, Aussie New Zealand dollar, not my favorite pair at all. Yes, there has been some momentum, of course, with the end of the news last week. But yeah, where to though? Where are we trading? We are coming back to resistance roughly. I'm drawing from that wick there. And I will give Aussie New Zealand dollar some praise because we are pretty consistent with all these higher lows here. I mean, looks like to me we're kind of squeezing in this area. Maybe eventually going to break to the upside to come back to highs. I think that could be a very nice trade or nice opportunity. Let's say if we do get like a clear-cut breakout of that, I think some pullbacks on the way up could present some really nice opportunities there for Aussie New Zealand dollar. But as of right now, we're approaching resistance. I probably wouldn't sell from there. I probably would wait for us to get to right to the highs here to take some shorts. So yeah, I think sells from the highs do make sense. And I think you are right to treat the market as ranging as well. So I would suggest, as long as we, of course, see some healthy rejection there, I do think we come down. Again, maybe long term we do break out of this, and like I said, maybe do continue back to those highs. But until we do see evidence of that happening, until we do see a legit breakout, then yeah, as price does approach resistance, you're looking to short. That's going to be your primary objective there. Waiting for some good entry confirmations to back that up. But at the moment, I think there is room to the upside. Perhaps even a pullback into this could be a decent opportunity on the way up. And then, of course, we can speak about the shorts at a later date. But I wouldn't look to sell until at least like 1.116. And then, yeah, we can speak about the shorts there. And we're probably still maybe a few days away from that. But, yeah, I can see some sense there. Okay, let's see. Let's take a look at USD. Okay, so let's have a look at the high time frame just to get a gauge of what we're doing. Okay, so we're kind of just, looks like we're building up for a big move here. But very, very flat at the moment. You've got the lows around there. That's probably where price is looking to head towards. We had this massive move here, which did take out highs, but did not result in much. So I do think we are eventually getting ready for, you know, an actual big move. But again, to call when that actually does happen is very difficult to do. So you can have to, you know, trade what's in front of you until that does happen. But yeah, it looks to me that we probably are just going to end up back at these lows at some point in time. I'm seeing a lot of lower highs here as well. You know, I like the shorts here. You've got some key support here to watch out for as well. But I do think we'll likely break through. I think a nice short here would be something like this, back into supply. Another one of these spiky moves, these kind of you know, really aggressive buys to try and call the top. If I get the trend line out, roughly something like that would be a nice trade. Because here I just see it as consolidation really. So I wouldn't want to try and position myself short there. If anything, there could be some very short-term bias off the low. I think if you're looking for like a quick intraday trade, just for like a day or so, I think you can get some success off that. But if you're looking for a swing trade, especially to the downside, kind of want price to rally first, back into supply, and then probably take some shorts back into support. Maybe you're lucky enough to get it back into the weekly level below us at 0.4046. But yeah, for this one, I do still see more downside. I think we're likely to come back into support there. In terms of opportunities, that's where it's at. So yeah, hopefully that has made some sense. Lighten. I don't know what's with my pairs. Maybe can you check your pound? Okay, we can take a look. Yeah, again, I think a lot of markets are quite choppy. I don't really have a lot of pairs on my watch list at the moment. I'm trading Aussie yen, but that's from last week. In terms of this week, USD pairs not really quite doing it for me. Of course, that could change pretty quickly, but I'm not really too sure about USD right now in terms of if I'm looking to buy it or sell it. I need a bit more information there. So USD pairs I'm putting to one side for now. Yen pairs, not really liking them mostly. I think CAD yen could be a nice one to keep an eye on for a big breakout higher. I'm trading Aussie yen at the moment, which I do like. But the other yen pairs, pound yen, euro yen, Swiss yen, dollar yen, not a big fan of those, to be honest. I think yen is still quite choppy. In terms of the minor pairs, some of the crosses, I like New Zealand CAD shorts. That's what I'm keeping an eye on. And that's probably about it, to be honest. Yeah. That's probably about it. Maybe some pullbacks on pound NZD. But that's it. So I don't have a lot of pairs on my watch list. I'm trading Aussie yen. I'll keep an eye on CAD yen, keep an eye on New Zealand CAD. And maybe pound NZD, and that's it. Of course, USD pairs could come onto the watch list in an instant, really. If I get a bit more clarity of USD, I can find Euro USD on my watch list, pound USD on my watch list pretty quickly. So that's something I'll keep an eye on. But as of now, I've probably got two or three pairs max, which I'm actually keeping an eye on in terms of trading. The rest, kind of in limbo at the moment. Okay, we can take a look at gold as well. Please last request is gold on 15 last. I was taken out for the buys, but I managed to find a re-entry. Walked away with 5. Oh, nice. Is that before the news, Yusuf? Yes, we can look at oil as well. No problem. Yeah, last week of the month as well. Oh yeah, it is last week of the month. Wow. Time has flown. Follow the trend. Lebsy, happy to help, guys. No problemo. Let's go take a look at euro pound for Lighten, and I can go through gold on the 15 as well. And we'll take a look at oil too. And of course, any other requests, drop it in the chat. So euro pound. Now for this one, I personally see that is a bit of a range as well. It looks to me that we're finding a lot of support around here. And we've got a resistance around here. And for the most part, we are bouncing between the two levels. Of course, if you expand to the daily chart, you can see kind of why the trend is starting to stall right now. We've been very, very bullish for a while, but since we've hit the highs, we're starting to struggle. So it's either prices starting to form a top to potentially start to trend lower, or we're kind of pausing to get ready to break out and continue. At the moment, it's kind of 50-50 right now. I'm not the biggest fan of euro pound. Personally, I would like to see us show signs of continuation, or actually personally give a break to the downside. I think that's really what I'm looking for, because personally it looks to me that we're kind of topping out here, and I can see a world where we do start to trend back down to these lows, but we can speak on that at a later date when we actually start to trend. But at the moment, we're kind of flat. We're forming a lot of equal lows, not really creating new highs anymore. So the trend was strong initially, but it has started to fatigue, and we are quite flat. Now, I'm not looking for any opportunities in and around here. I think this is where things get choppy, difficult to take trades. Is price pushing up here to put a lower high and come back down? Maybe. Or are we pushing up to get back to resistance? Maybe. I don't know. I'm not seeing clarity in either of those scenarios. What I would see clarity in is if we can get a strong break lower and then looking for some pullbacks of that. As long as price doesn't take out this new high, let's say if we do dump from here and create a new low, as long as price doesn't take out this high, I would remain bearish. And my first bet would be looking for a breaking retest of that level, or maybe like a push into an area of supply. And yeah, I'll be looking at shorting opportunities and perhaps some moves back into these areas, maybe even back to those areas there as well. So I'm pretty bearish on euro pound. I do think price is likely to move lower, but it is dependent on a break to the downside. If we don't break to the downside, we could rally, of course, pays, or we might even just stay within the range and just chop back and forth. And I don't see much opportunity there, to be honest. If we do push back into support, there might be some buys off the low again, something like this. But personally, that doesn't quite do it for me. So yeah, euro pound, I'm hinting at a move to the downside, but until we kind of see real conviction lower, I'll be quite careful of that in terms of shorting it too early. But let's say if we do get that, yeah, I quite like the shorts there. Until then, not seeing much of an opportunity. In terms of gold on the 15, not a big fan of gold really at all. I did say in terms of the lower time frames, this is not a bad opportunity. I don't mind it. We are starting to see some bullish structure here with some higher highs and higher lows. We did break structure over there. This was the last high, which gave us this low. Of course, we just broken through that. So it looks to me that we've somewhat reversed this bearish trend, this bearish cycle, to perhaps a bullish one. So if that is the case, then we should be expecting more upside. We've of course got price structure down here. I would suggest we're quite corrective on the way down as well. So if we can get here, I do think that's a nice place for a buy. And a push back to resistance makes a lot of sense. So yeah, going forward with gold, I quite like what I'm seeing on the 15. I would suggest, just because we're in a range, it just lowers the probability of the opportunity and just makes me cautious in terms of looking into it. I mean, I don't trade on the 50-minute chart anyway, but if I did, it will make me quite cautious, just because if I zoom out and look at the context of the market, we are just very flat. So, like, despite how good the opportunity looks intraday, I'm always going to be very cautious, because I know this is just where a lot of fluctuation happens, and it does affect the quality of the setup. If this was after a breakout, then yeah, it'll be a great opportunity. But of course, it's not. Simply, I'm still focused at the highs and the lows, but from a 15-minute perspective, I would say that's the next best opportunity. Look and try and catch the next high or low, and of course, ride it back to highs, and we'll see how far we can take it from there. So that's kind of what I would keep an eye on the 15. Okay, before the news, nice. So so you got in before the news. So did you profit on the news, or were you out before the news kicked in? We'll take a look at oil for Alex as well. So oil's interesting. We've been quite corrective on the way down, but it looks to me that we're kind of just fatiguing here. So we are breaking to the upside. Now, let's see what that breakout looks like. Does it get us back above structure here? Or do we respect resistance and this price continue lower? It really depends how we react with that level. If so, this could be a very nice place for a short. If not, and we do break to the upside, then it could actually be a very nice place for a long should we come back and retest, because this will then be a massive fake out. And then we'll be anticipating a recovery, a retest, and a continuation. You got some highs there to target as well. But for now, we are pushing into that level as resistance. So that's going to be the first kind of thing we're going to observe, how price reacts with this resistance level. Does it reject well? If so, yeah, we could be in for a really big swing back to these lows. And of course, the lows down there, but probably not going to target that outright. I'll probably say even a swing back here looks like a really big trade in itself. So yeah, the plan with oil is to see what we do at this 64.5 area. Do we reject it well? Does price break through? We'll find out probably in the next couple of days or so, and that will kind of dictate my bias. But for now, because it is coming to resistance, I would naturally be favoring some shorts, but we'll see if that does translate to the price action or not. And then we'll go from there. But yeah, I'll be pretty bearish. Okay, so you got into the trade, then you profited from the big push in the news and closed off news. Okay, nice. That would be a nice, pleasant surprise there. Not expecting much this week. Let me have a look at the news for the week. Okay, so of course today's a bank holiday in the UK, so in terms of pound, not much going on there. We do have new home sales later today at 3 o'clock for US, so if you are trading the USD pairs, I'll probably keep an eye on that. Then early hours of Tuesday morning, you do have Aussie minutes for the interest rates, so not expecting much there. It's only the meeting for the minutes, so it's not the actual decision, but that could cause a bit of movement. I'm trading Aussie, aren't I? But I wouldn't worry too much about that. I say that, I probably jinxed myself, haven't I? And then later we've got durable goods for USD tomorrow afternoon. Then Wednesday, nothing really on Wednesday, to be honest, nothing significant. Thursday, jobless claims for USD, GDP as well. That's in the afternoon. And then Friday, consumer confidence yen, retail sales Germany. unemployment rate as well for Germany, and then GDP for CAD, and PCE for USD as well. So you do have some news here and there, but none of the big boys. But then again, any of these news events, depending on the outcome, could cause the markets to move as well. So again, definitely want to keep an eye in terms of myself, because there's no like NFP or currency I'm trading. Then yeah, I'm not going to be too cautious in terms of taking trades and entries. But yeah, I won't be too cautious, to be honest. I mean, I don't really see much opportunity this week. Maybe USD does something and things change, but at the moment, I'll just trade as I normally would do. No problem, Scarlett. Happy to help. Yeah, kind of dead week. Yeah, I agree. For me, pound CHF, Euro USD, kind of dead week. I haven't actually looked at pound CHF. Last time I looked at that one, we were bouncing off support there. Yeah, we've had a slight bounce there, but hasn't really provided much of a reaction, I must suggest. Really aggressive move down, sorry. Fairly corrective on the move up, and then we've been quite sideways since that's happened. Yeah, pound CHF doesn't look great to me, to be honest. 50-minute chart, back and forth there as well. Yeah, a lot of pairs are kind of choppy, consolidating at the moment. Suppose maybe last week of August before coming to September, maybe things pick up then a little bit. But quite a lot of back and forth here, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, it's not looking great. Not looking great at all. I mean, CHF pairs I'm not really interested in this week. Yeah. Dollar CHF, no. Pound, no. Euro, no. Swiss, not really. Yeah. CAD CHF, no either. So, CHF pairs not really on my watch list. I don't really have many. Like I said, I've only got CAD gem buys at the moment. I like this one to the upside if I can see a break of this this wedge pattern here. I do think there's a lot of upside for CAD gem. Excuse me, just sneezed. In terms of New Zealand CAD, I like this to the downside. I'm actually keeping an eye on the breaking retest of this area, but it looks to me that we're finally broken out of this kind of range here, and we're starting to steady pick up some steam to the downside. So I quite like the opportunity on the retest of support here, or a pullback to this consolidation there, basic area of supply, and I'm expecting pretty big moves for New Zealand CAD. So this is probably what I like the most: New Zealand CAD sells and CAD gem buys. Then maybe I might entertain pound into the pullbacks. It needs to be a pretty big pullback for that to happen. But we've had a really big breakout, and I quite like the idea of a pullback into this area since there's a lot of momentum there for pound NZD. Really aggressive rally there. I would suggest a pullback into this area, and a continuation could look good. So yeah, I'll keep an eye on pound NZD as well. But those are the only three I like at the moment. Like I said, Euro USD, pound USD, the USD pair do need some work. Looks like we are somewhat rejecting the highs, but I would like a bit more convincing rejection before I do take any shorts potentially. Or of course, if I'm going to take some longs, any price to be trading above the highs. So there could be opportunities that do progress on USD. I'm not ruling them out. I'm just saying at the moment now, not really there for me. Yeah, potentially. And then of course September, hopefully that can pick up. Yeah, I'm good, man. Family's doing good. I'm good as well. Nothing new at the moment, to be honest. Hope everything is well with you and your fam as well. Fill that gap a little bit more on Euro and GU. Yeah, I mean, I think we'll probably see price go and push up a little bit to test the highs again, probably this afternoon maybe, because there was a lot of momentum on Friday. But at the moment, the only position I'm in is Aussie Yen, and that goes back from last Thursday. I have trailed stops, so risk is minimal. Still a little bit of risk there, but compared to the initial risk, it has been minimized quite a lot, so I'm happy with the position. I've seen nice continuation in my favor. As I said, this is the first target for the trade, so we'll go from there. If price does respect it well, I may close the trade here, so I'll let you guys know if I do that. But if we see evidence of a breakout, then hopefully this is like a big flag pattern for us to continue. So yeah, I'm relying on some strength there. Good to hear, Bashi. Good to hear, Bashi. Anyway, guys, we have come to the end of the stream. I hope you guys have enjoyed it and found it useful. Please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. Yeah, I mean, of course, not everyone's gonna agree. At the end of the day, the thing about trading is you're not here to impress anyone. You're here just to trade for yourself, and for your family as well. You know, at the end of the day, it's not like you're necessarily sharing the profits with everyone or the losses either. So just focus on yourself, focus on your craft, get good at it. Of course, you can help people along the way, join communities, but we're not really here to impress people here. We're just here to trade, learn, have a good time, really. But yeah, guys, I hope you have found the stream useful and enjoyed it. We'll be live again tomorrow, so if you guys are enjoying the content, make sure you're there again tomorrow, same time as always, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time. If you do want to check out Zenthrix, I have left the Telegram pinned, so at the top of the chat, you'll be able to see it. Check it out if you're interested to join the community, find out updates, really exciting project we're working on, and a lot of updates coming up very, very soon, so make sure you're in the Telegram. If you haven't done already, like, subscribe, share with your friends, hit the bell, all that good stuff does really help support the channel and keeps you in the loop. And of course, join the memberships if you do want to support the channel further. There's some added perks there, member only exclusive videos if you do want to check them out. So if you're interested, have a look-see. But guys, really appreciate you tuning in. Have a great day. I'll catch you all in the next one.
Introducing Zenthrix AI-powered trading signals service. Tired of second-guessing your trades? Zenthrix AI scans the markets 24/7 with powerful, proven indicators built to give you clarity. You get 200+ signals every day on 15-minute, 1-hour, 4-hour, and daily charts. We cover Forex, crypto, commodities, indices, and stocks, so you're covered no matter what you trade. And the best part, you get all this delivered 3 ways, every day. Web alerts give you fast, clean access right from your dashboard. Telegram delivers real-time entries, confidence levels, sentiment, and trade duration. And email gives you the full breakdown, including 2 profit target levels and deep market analysis. Just hold $5 worth of ZTR. See what you can achieve with powerful AI trading intelligence by Zenthrix. Try it now. And join our Telegram channel.